is the K-Pop Cast, bringing you the best sounds and ideas in K-Pop each week. Hello, everybody. This is your PD and Michaela, and for this special episode, we are discussing iKON's first U.S. tour and kind of getting into why it took them 8 years to meet their North American fans. But I am not alone for this discussion. Joining me is Syed from Genius Korea. Hello.
Hello, everyone. My name is Syed. I am the founder of Genius Korea. Genius Korea is a community-led website, part of the website Genius. It's the big yellow lyric website that you might have seen around.
Yes.
And we focus on the Korean side of the website. Yeah. And I'm really excited to talk about iKON with you today.
Yes. Okay. But before we dive in, guys, don't forget to join the K-Pop Cast community on Slack. Links to everything in the episode description. So let's get started. So before we get into our little chatty chat about the tour, I think it's important that we kind of give a quick TLDR about who iKON is and kind of like what their career has been for the past 8 years. Just, for the people that don't know. So to start off, iKON, they debuted in September 15th, 2015. A little bit more information pre-debut was that they were put together through an Mnet survival show called Mix and Match. This was a collaboration between Mnet and YG. It was actually a spin-off of the show Win Who's Next, which was the survival show that formed the group Winner. And so they had Winner and then iKON, which originally consisted of 7 members: B.I., Bobby, J, Jun, Song, DK, and Chan. They debuted with the EP Welcome Back, which had a number of hit songs: My Type, Dumb and Dumber, Rhythm Ta, Airplane, Apology, Anthem. It went #1 on the Gaon chart, allegedly selling millions of copies internationally. But very importantly, it had all Japanese versions of every song on the album, which was very important because the next year after their debut, they kick off January 2016 with their first Asia tour, where they had stops in Korea, China, Japan, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, Indonesia, and Taiwan. And right after this concludes in September in 2016, they start their first solo Japan tour, which runs all the way up to March of 2017. They have a quick period where they make a comeback with the songs Bling and Birthday, and then they go right back to Japan and finish their Japan tour off with a dome tour running from May 2017 to November 2017. So this era of iKON is really referred to as kind of their stuck in Japan days. Like this was a very clear sign that YG really wanted them to be very popular in the Japanese market, such that it seemed like the domestic market in Korea was kind of losing interest. Like the 2 singles that they put out, Bling Bling and Birthday, did not do as well as the singles from their debut EP. So it was kind of this era in which they were kind of losing popularity in Korea, but still doing very well internationally. So, do you remember this time for iKON, like when they were kind of, stuck in Japan?
So no, I guess my basic answer is no. But obviously, because iKON debuted with such huge singles, we had all heard about them. And it was just interesting because they had such huge singles in Korea, but they sort of moved away from that, and their focus changed to more Japanese promotions and stuff like that. So it was just interesting. But as a fan, I was not there as a hardcore iconic.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, most people kind of came to them during the next year, which is 2018, where they make their return to Korea with the Return album, with the hit single everybody and their babies and their grandpapas knew Love Scenario. Like that rocked Korea, especially that year, basically owning the charts for the first half of 2018. Like, do you remember that when that came out?
Yeah, that was the time when I started paying attention to them properly. And I feel like a lot of the K-pop fandom in general started finding out who iKON was.
Right.
And it was also a bit of a shift in their sound. So more and more fans were tuning in because of that. And yeah, I was there for Love Scenario when that happened.
I have on a side note, I have a very special place in my heart for Love Scenario because that was the first song that we covered where I was like working with the K-pop cast. So it was like the first episode I had like a part in, which so I
That's exciting.
yeah, as well as like loving the release. I have a connection to that song in like a different level because it like is the reason I'm here today talking with you and I'm getting to see iKON.
Yeah.
But kind of wrapping it up, so we had 2019 to 2020 is kind of the rough time for iKON, not just because of COVID, but also the fact that BI ended up leaving the group in 2019 due to his, at the time, alleged drug scandal. Now in 2023, we do know that he was charged and is served probation for a year, and I believe is still serving his sentence. So he was never formally jailed, but he was sentenced. I don't know. Do you have any comments on this era, this dark time for iKON?
I mean, for me personally, like this is when I like got into them properly and I started learning their names. I started learning like just, those unhelpful YouTube videos of them being goofy and all that. And it just like, it hit me later on that he had left. Because for the longest time I was like, oh, he's in the group, like he's just on a hiatus or something like that.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, no, I was there during that time, and it was interesting because like the songs that they released during that time were some of my favorites, but they never people don't look at them with affection, I guess, because of the other things that were going on with the group at that time. So
yeah. It was a rough time for them domestically, definitely, as well as internationally, because they weren't as active. But then in 2021, we get their second, I don't call it the second coming, but like another return to the scene through the survival program Kingdom. They mentioned, especially in their interviews, that, they've had a lot of experience being able to tour for their fans, but they really wanted to use Kingdom as an opportunity to show like a different side of themselves and different kind of varied performances, especially now that they were continuing as a group of 6. Like, did you watch Kingdom? Do you have any?
Oh, I watched it religiously. It was, I mean, just the fact that the lineup for that season was amazing. It was just kings upon kings, right? That was the theme. And iKON was a very unexpected choice because they had gone through the survival show, and we don't really typically think of YG as doing a lot of survival show related things.
No, they keep everybody in the dungeon.
They do,
except for the models. Like they'll throw out the YG K plus whatever guys whenever they need to.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I watched it religiously, and I was rooting for iKON the entire time, and I feel like a lot of fans got to see a different side of iKON truly, because like even from the get go on their first stage that they performed, everyone was commenting about how like they just seem to be having fun. Like they're not focusing on the choreo, like they're singing sometimes, they're laughing, enjoying, especially for 4th gen fans who are more, they're more typically, like focusing on the choreography and the performance aspect. And there's a storyline in every performance and every song. And iKON did not have that. They had amazing bangers and they just wanted to perform and have fun. So, yeah, I was there for that.
Yeah, that was, I know we're going to get into it, but that was definitely something that especially talking with fans on on site during the LA stop, the last stop of the tour, that was something that a lot of people mentioned about them, was that when it comes to their performance versus what you would typically expect for an idol group, they're more chill and more focused on, again, giving a performance, not necessarily making it perfect.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. So then just wrapping up this section of iKON's history, they left from 2022 to 2023, this year. The biggest thing was that they left YG. They finally, after their contracts were ended, they officially departed in December of 2022 on December 30th. And on January 1st of 2023, they signed with 143 Entertainment and immediately announced a new album and this tour that we're going to be talking about today, the 2023 iKON World Tour Takeoff, which had performances across Asia, Europe, and North America. And for the purpose of our discussion, we're mostly going to be focusing on the North America part of the tour. Though we're calling this their first tour, though they had previous offshoot performances. They did South by Southwest in 2018. They did this random Samsung Fortnite event in New York City in 2018. They participated in the second Head in the Clouds festival in 2019. And then the last performance in the States before this tour was the Camp LA 2022, aka the Campfire. We're not going to get into it. If you search it up, you guys know.
Yeah. I actually did not know that they performed at Head in the Clouds. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That was news to me.
I actually didn't know either. I found out talking to somebody in line.
Oh.
So actually, speaking of, let's turn it over to those interviews. I got a chance to speak with some lovely iconics before the LA concert. Raven and Admin from with iKON USA, and Ladesha, Cassidy, and Jason from the OTG Dance Studio in San Jose, the Bay Area. And my first question to them was, what's it like to see iKON touring in the US for the first time?
Yes, it means a lot because I've been standing them for 5 years, and it just makes everything so much more realer now. Even when I saw them at camp, because it was such a short set, it just made it be like, wait, what? No, that's it? No, come back. So I'm so happy to finally see only them in concert and have it be a full-length concert, and it's just, I'm so grateful that they're here. Yes, I survived camp. Yes.
You guys are from San Jose, so you're from California, Bay Area. What does it mean for you guys to see iKON here for the first time, or have you seen them before?
Well, I've seen iKON before, but they were so far away. But
where did you see them?
I saw the Head in the Clouds.
Oh, Head in the Clouds. Okay.
Yeah, but now I'll actually get to see them up close. We got some pretty good seats. I'm hella hyped because I've seen them. I've been a fan of them since pre-debut, and I think a lot of us are. You guys want to say your piece? I know.
Yeah, I've been a fan of them since Win. So yeah, pre-debut, been looking forward to their debut, and then been following them ever since. And it's been 8 years.
Have you also seen them before?
I haven't seen them before. It's my and Ladesha's first time seeing them. Yeah.
Okay. When did you first get into iKON?
I was watching them from their pre-debut Win era, but I really started following them more around Bling Bling and Birthday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, so you guys have been fans of iKON for a while. Is there anything that you guys think sets them apart from other groups, or something that you would want new fans to know about them?
I feel like for me, they're a bunch of bros. I don't know, they have that energy. So I feel like other K-pop groups, they have kind of a rule to follow or some sort of a guideline. I feel like, and there are other groups that do this too, but I feel like iKON are especially off the rails.
They're more chill, more free.
They're chill, off the rails. They're they're doing their own variety show, but then they're okay, well, I'm gonna go play video games in my room. Well, that's Chanu, but they're just so laid back, and I like that nature. I feel it in some ways very relatable. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like how relaxed they are on stage. I think K-pop has, not that it's a bad thing, but in this day and age, they're all about the cleanliness, and iKON is more about having fun and just kind of doing whatever, trying new things, which I really appreciate. Yeah.
Yeah, I just really appreciate iKON's like very casual group dynamic because it's just so easy to watch one of their variety shows and just watch them get along and have fun together. Yeah, that's one of the things I like about them the most.
I feel like that's one thing that most fans recognize them for is their laid back attitude, and they're just having fun. They're not taking themselves too seriously, which is something that's rare in K-pop these days.
Yeah. And to be honest, before I saw them perform live, because this is my first time seeing them in LA, was I always wanted them to go to KCON just so I could see them perform. But then actually getting to see them on stage and seeing that, again, that laid back style, and again, having recently been to KCON LA, it makes sense for them to go to a Head in the Clouds versus a KCON, because not necessarily that it's a bad thing, but their style of performance compared to the very tight, accurate, quick, intricate performances that you would see from all of the other groups, especially since there are so many rookies at KCON nowadays, they would look
out of place.
It would look out of place. It doesn't necessarily match what you would be seeing through the performance. And I wouldn't want it to come off, especially for them, as a negative thing, because somebody could be watching them for the first time and think that maybe they're quote lazier performers.
Lazy.
Where it's no, it's not laziness. It's called charisma. It's called not focusing on, like you said, accuracy, but more focusing on actually giving a performance, and more importantly, connecting with the crowd, because that's something that's very hard to do when you're remembering 1,000 steps.
Yeah. And I mean, KCON has gotten better at the fan interaction of performers going to the crowds and hyping them up and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like iKON is more suited for festivals and more of those where there's a mixed crowd,
Right.
Not everyone's just there with a light stick and just, want to be in a synchronized, it's in a synchronized fashion. It's everyone's there just to have fun and just enjoy the music and, whatever.
What is it that you think sets iKON apart from other groups? What was it about them that when you were getting into them, they were like, oh, these guys are it?
One of the things that really set them apart is their dynamic with each other, for sure. They are really a family, and best friends. For example, I think even people who would try to get some news or some scoop about them, they would just be don't even try. They're just hanging out with each other all the time. And even now, ever since they moved out of the dorms, since they moved from YG, they talk about how they miss each other all the time, being in separate homes and stuff. And so I think that was just one of the things, and how much fun they had too. Even in Love Scenario, they were just partying, having fun with each other, and I think you can see that more and more throughout their music videos as well. So I really love that.
They just love the party.
Yes, they do. They do.
It's not, they don't take themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
For me, that family aspect, I believe, and the introvertedness, I believe, especially when you look at them at or during Kingdom, when they were we don't really know anybody. We just kind of keep to ourselves. We've been relying on each other for the past 6-7 years.
Yeah, that's very true. And it's that family aspect. I feel like a lot of the older third gen groups have that dynamic where, because they have just spent so much time together in close proximity, there wasn't that much social media involved at that time. It's just a lot of the groups, even though they come from survival shows, they have that dynamic. I feel like I don't see that in more recent groups where, especially with survival show groups, because they have contracts and they're they're there for a year or 2 years or whatever, and then they're out.
If at all,
they're gonna do
if nothing else happens.
If nothing else happens, then yeah.
Yeah, and then also thinking about, again, they were touring in Japan for 2 years. Like them being kind of alone in a foreign country. Like, again, not really knowing the language, but, still having to again work and perform. Like I can imagine that time was probably what built this family dynamic for them, because they really were like each other's rock, especially in that scenario.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree, definitely.
Okay, so then as somebody who is maybe coming into iKON or being introduced to iKON for the first time, what do you think is something that new baby fans should know about iKON before they get started with their journey?
They should know that iKON is really lovey-dovey with Iconics for sure.
Okay. So be prepared for high-key fan service.
Yes, high fan service for sure, all the time. Like, for example, DK Dongi, he loves us so much. For example, like on Mnet Chat Plus, he would always be like, "Oh, I love you guys, I miss you guys, Bogo Shippo," and all that, and giving cute little pics and everything. So yeah, expect a lot of interaction. iKON really loves us, and we love them back, and also we have both ways going, respect for each other all the time. Like, for example, there's been times where Iconics paid for iKON's meal, and then iKON would pay for our meal at the same time. So it's like you're joining a big family, and we're always welcoming to new Iconics. So yeah. Yes, they're very humble and silly, and like I said before, they really do love us and respect us just like we do for them. And as you will see from fan cams from this concert, there's going to be a lot of interactions with us, and they're going to come out and try to make sure that everyone has their chance to, and that they have a chance to see us. Even Bobby said at one of the earlier stops before that this isn't us coming to see them, they're coming to see us. So it's really very loving, and you will not regret joining this fandom at all.
Yeah, that was very apparent.
Yeah,
that was very apparent coming to seeing iKON perform for the first time. Was again, they're just interactions with the crowd, and really seeing them connect with everybody was really cool to see.
Yeah, definitely. And I agree. He said the same thing I don't know if that was just for us or he has said that in different stops as well. But yeah, we aren't just, it's not just the fans who are going to see them. It's also them coming to see all the fans who have been supporting them for the past 8 years. So, and yeah, the fan service thing that she talked about is so true. It's they really do connecting with their fans a lot.
Which again, it's been 8 years. So
they built a huge catalog of songs in this time. And so they have fans who enjoy more hip hop songs. They have fans who enjoy more pop ballad styles things, or fans who are enjoying more for just chill, vibey music. And so they have a very the fandom is very diverse in terms of what people enjoy, because there is a song for everything, because obviously it's been 8 years of building the catalog.
And when I asked fans, I asked a few fans what song are you excited to see the most, the top two choices that people had was Tantara and Fighting song, solo trot song.
Yes.
So you have the Tantara, which is that OG 90s hip hop throwback, and then Fighting, which is super based
it's a trot song.
It's a trot song. He comes out in a sparkly red blazer,
red suit,
and especially I don't know how it was for you, but the energy doesn't change from the hip hop to the trot. Everybody is here for every version of them that they're showing on stage.
Yeah, definitely agree with that.
And so the last question we'll get into before we get into our thoughts from the tour is I just wanted to ask what fans think is the reason it took 8 years for them to finally come to the US and have their first real quote unquote world tour.
From your perspective, what do you guys think took so long for this tour? Like, why do you think it took 8 years for iKON to finally tour in the U.S.?
It took them.
You want me to-
It took them leaving YG.
Yeah, because YG is mad lame sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, being in YG, as much as I love YG, their artists are gonna be in the dungeon, you know. So I feel like now that they're in a different label, I would probably say a smaller label as well. They have more freedom, more creativity, and I mean, I don't know what's behind the scenes, but I bet their label right now is like, okay, it's about time you get your freaking, you know, world tour. Yeah.
Here's a tour. Here's a light stick. Go.
Yeah. You need a new light stick. It's about time.
That's the most interesting thing about it. Because, like, if you think, because iKON debuted in 2015, and, like, if you compare them to their peers who debuted that year, like, you're talking about 17, Monsta X, Twice, like, groups that have done stadium tours here in the US.
Yeah.
So it's definitely wasn't a case of the US not being ready for artists that were from their generation, at least.
Yeah. I think it's like, as a lot of the fans sort of alluded to, the management obviously sort of undermining, I guess, their potential. And I don't know, I feel like the third generation groups, like you mentioned, 17, Monsta X, Twice, they didn't tour the US back then necessarily.
True. Yeah.
Like those big shows that they're doing happened in recent years. So I feel like third gen as a whole, their focus was not towards the US in that way. Like, it wasn't as specific, it wasn't as, you know, as what would you say, like, as headstrong, head first as it is right now. Like, Twice is doing those stadium shows not right now, and they're obviously built off of, like, you know, they've started from smaller shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just interesting, like, why not iKON?
Yeah, and I did talk with a few fans, like, off mic about this, and one of the things that I didn't think of that came up was the fact that, you know, thinking back to their debut, you know, YG had Winner and iKON as their new boy groups. And it seemed apparent that YG was focusing Winner for the Korean market, and they really wanted iKON to be focused on the international market, especially Japan. So, like, one, that could be a reason why they didn't build up their fandom in Korea as early on. But then it felt like once they were focused on building their fandom in Korea, especially after Love Scenario popped off, like they kind of gave up on pushing them towards the Korean market because the domestic market was, like, becoming so hot for them.
Yeah, that's contradicting, right? Like, as you said, like, Winner is definitely more. It was definitely more focused on Korean for the market. Their songs, like, if you just listen to the songs by Winner, you know that it's more focused for Korean audience.
Yeah.
And for iKON, the hip hop aspect was definitely something that would have blown up internationally, especially in the US. And so it is contradicting, because if you are going to, focus it like that, like, then why not focus it on US as well? So
yeah. So speaking of the US, let's talk about this tour. Let's get into our thoughts, our favorite moments, our things that we wish, maybe they could improve on. Some constructive criticism. from the tour of the US leg of the tour. So first, Syed, which stop did you go to? Because I went to the LA stop.
Yeah, I went to Denver, which was very exciting for us because Denver doesn't typically get that many groups coming in, especially like a big group like iKON. And so as soon as it was announced, I don't even remember when it was announced, like February or something.
Yeah, it was very early in the year.
Very early.
Which
we did not get dates or anything.
Yeah, I appreciated knowing that it was like around September, because I was able to plan a little bit, which was a lot better than some of these other tours that, like, I'm announced like maybe 2 weeks beforehand.
Definitely.
But still, like, the fact that we didn't get dates, I had to really, like, figure it out.
Like we knew about it from a press perspective early spring, March,
Right,
April.
right,
We
right.
knew that it was going to happen and where it was going to happen. But that was like us just being having access to those things. Like fans in general did not know. But as soon as it was announced, I was like, I'm getting these tickets. I do not care where I am. But
Right.
like in September, I cannot like predict where I'm going to be like 9
I
months
was
ahead.
at the gym. I was like furiously like doing at the phone because I had forgotten. Like I didn't get the notification from the Leo what was it, the
Leo
Presents that they were doing it that
Yeah.
day. And so literally I'm just like, oh, I wonder what time the thing was. And it was literally while I was on like a leg press. So here I am just sitting at this machine. Like I see people wanting to use it after me. And I'm sorry, I just gotta get these tickets before.
Priorities, people, priorities. You can use it later.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, yeah. I was really excited about it.
And so, what kind of venue was this one at? Because mine was at like a very like historic, like old school theater. Like was yours also in like a theater, or was there like a pit like with just open
Yeah.
space?
So it was a theater. It's the Belco Theater in Denver. It's one of those mid-sized venues. It's not super small. It's not super big.
Yeah.
But it is definitely meant more for, theater, like plays and musicals and maybe like conferences and stuff like that. So there is graded seating. So, like even if you're in the back, you can still see the stage pretty clearly.
Right.
But the theater as a whole, the structure wasn't really meant for concerts, and especially not the K-pop concerts.
And the party hype of an
The
iKON
party
bridge.
hype, like iKON, the bass and everything, it wasn't meant for that.
Yeah, I can say for sure that my venue, especially because I was on the second level, and I do not think that level was meant for a bunch of people swaying to music, because it was shaking, like literally shaking the whole night. I keep saying that we got like the 4DX version of the tour at my stop. It wasn't like a earthquake level of shake. So I wasn't like totally afraid for my life, but it was like, okay, maybe
It was thrilling.
it was thrilling. It added to
thrilling.
it.
Yeah.
But I feel like I said, I do like the theater aspect of like wherever you are, you can at least get a good view of the stage.
Yeah.
But with
Yeah.
iKON, like again, it just feels so. It's like such a shame that they're doing their first tour in these kinds of venues. Like when I think of like the perfect venue for an iKON tour, I think of like either a stadium or like an arena, like something that's like can manage the hype of and the energy that they're putting out on the stage.
That was definitely a thought that we also had, because Denver, typically when we get K-pop concerts, they come to a venue called Fillmore Auditorium, which
okay.
is more of like it's flat, like everyone's equal.
Yeah,
There is
yeah.
no, like if you're in the back, you cannot see the stage. But that is that's the size that most K-pop groups are able to fill out. Like that if a show is happening in Fillmore, then it's sold out. I believe Dreamcatcher sold out. Card, I'm not sure if they did, but like it was very close to capacity. For me, I mean, obviously, iKON like deserves to have one of those big venue performances. Their songs are very much like they fill up the room, but they did not sell Denver. Belco Theater was very empty. So for us, we personally felt like if they had done Fillmore, they would have had a sold out show in Denver, period. Like the day it went on sale, it would have sold out. So we personally thought that it would have made more sense for them to do Fillmore than doing Belco, because it didn't sell, and that's really unfortunate. But it's the reality of it. Like,
Reality of just kind of again waiting this long for a tour. The fandom over time being smaller, maybe newer fans not knowing as much about them. So most of I know as far as like the demographic that I saw from my
Yeah.
tour. It was definitely skewed older, still very diverse though.
It was, yeah, similar for us as well. And I was really surprised by seeing lots of kids
Yeah,
at
like
the
whole,
show.
whole families, like
Whole
moms,
families
dads,
were there.
babies.
And I was like, I've never seen that at a K-pop concert. I've been to a fair number of
Mm-hmm.
K-pop concerts now. And it was just interesting to see. And the kids weren't the fans, like the parents were the fans.
Yeah, they were just bringing them on because they couldn't get a babysitter or something.
Yeah, like they had like toddlers there, people with like strollers and stuff. I was like, damn, we are hags. Like this fandom is.
I was gonna say that was the other thing I liked about the fact that it was a theater was like I got a seat, like because
Lots of, yeah.
maybe if we had this back in like 2017, my knees, but iKON, your fans are.
You know what? I was up the entire time. My feet hurt the next day, but at the same time, I was like, "Thank God I have a seat. I do not want to struggle through a GA
Right.
in this crowd." And just like being able to sit down once in a while was like,
nice.
that's really nice.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So, I guess was there any other broader comments that we have about the tour in general before we get into like specific moments that we liked from the shows that we saw? Like I think this Leo Presents. I'm not as familiar with them as a promoter. I don't know if they're newer or not.
Yeah. I mean, iKON was one of their biggest artists that they have ever done so far,
Yeah.
in K-pop at least. And they have done like smaller groups with much smaller venues. So it was kind of surprising that, they're taking on a bigger artist, taking on bigger venues.
Yeah. I mean, but not surprising considering they are with a small label now. So it made a little bit of sense in as far as that.
But I will definitely say, like, Leo Presents did an amazing job with everything. It was really well done. There were no confusions about different types of ticketing, or it's like a VIP or front of the line, this, that, whatever it was. They managed really well. And they have had a good reputation so far, which I'm hoping will continue forward. So, yeah, I don't have any complaints with them from a fan perspective.
Yeah, from a fan perspective, from a press perspective, as it'd be nice to get some responses to my emails. Just saying.
Yeah,
like I had to pull my YouTube influencer card just to get maybe a contact from them. But it's okay. I still enjoyed the show, even if I didn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to get press.
From a press perspective, yeah, I was a bit. Because we covered their previous tour they did with the girl group Pixie. And so we got in touch with them for that. So we were hopeful that iKON being the next one, we will probably get some opportunities or some information out of them. But it was really hard to get anything out of Leo Presents for this tour.
Yeah, but
and I'm just
understandable. They're probably, like I said, this is their biggest, the biggest artist they've had. They're probably very busy with this tour.
Exactly.
Well, maybe
yeah.
next year.
And yeah. Not that much complaint.
Yeah. Okay, so then let's get into what were your favorite moments from your stop of the tour?
I think we can all agree that Song's solo stage for Fighting was just like the best highlight of a K-pop show I've ever been to. I literally came out of the show and I told one of the Genius Korea team members who went with us that every K-pop concert needs to have a trot segment in their show. Like it was so good. It was so infectious, like the energy of him, singing and then like pointing the mic towards the fans and the fans like singing back to him. And trot songs just have that kind of energy, There's like it puts you in a good mood.
Yeah, it's just baked into the genre.
It is built into the genre, exactly. So yeah, that was one of my favorite. Like I was looking forward to it as well especially when the song came out earlier this year. I was like, this is gonna be so fun if he does it on tour. So yeah, I definitely was looking forward to it.
I'm a little biased because he is my bias, but it was also just a great performance to see him flex his vocal ability. Like as far as solos, he doesn't have as many, especially as compared to like a Bobby. But it was great to just see him, on stage by himself, flexing his
vocal talent and also just having fun.
Yeah. Also, like him specifically, I remember that he was the most interactive with the fans. I don't know if this happened at any other stops, but like they would come down into the crowd to, interact with the fans.
Yeah, him and DK.
And they did that twice with us. And one of the times was DK, and the other time it was, I believe, Chan who did it. But Song was there both times, and so he grabbed like props from the fans, like he put on a crown for us. He grabbed what is it called? Like, that gun that like shoots like fake money out of it. Like he grabbed that for the encore. And we had a like really cute moment where someone said, "Is that fake money?" And they all agreed, like, obviously it's fake money. And one of them said, like, "Oh, bummer." Like we were hoping it was real money. But yeah, like those cute moments and those like fun interactive moments. And Song was like at the first, like the first person to do any of that. So yeah.
What are your other moments from the tour?
I also really enjoyed Rhythm Ta.
Yes.
I mean, it's like one of their old classic songs. And also, it's interesting because Love Scenario is their signature song that most people recognize them for.
Yeah.
But I feel like Rhythm Ta is more of like a cult classic where like everyone knows it. They might not know it is iKON, but everyone still knows it.
Yeah. And
so,
even if they don't know it from iKON, maybe they've seen somebody do a cover of it. Or like
Exactly,
multiple groups
yeah.
have mentioned, especially on Kingdom, like Rhythm Ta was a song that they would use when they were trainees. Like they would train to that song.
Yeah, and also it's like a song that like after the first chorus, you know what's coming. So you're bopping your head, you're moving, and you're just. So it was an interesting choice for them to use Rhythm Ta for both like the regular set list and then the encore as well.
Yeah, Rhythm Ta was the song that I feared the most for my life on being on that second wobbly mizzy. because the Rhythm Ta, the rhythm is very specific for everybody. So it's just a whole bunch of bodies just moving at that rhythm.
Yeah, that was definitely a highlight for me. I was kind of surprised that they did not do as many songs from their recent album. But
Same,
yeah, I mean, I'll take what I get.
Doing no English versions of those songs. Like, I didn't know that there's actually an English version of Killing Me. Because I heard somebody playing it while they were in line, and I was like, wait, is that English? Like, I didn't even know that they had English versions of their songs.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of them are very fluent in English. And they have official versions of their songs as well. So yeah, that was interesting. It was, as I mentioned earlier, like they have a catalog worth of, like 8 years worth of catalog.
Right.
So just picking out songs from that is like a challenge in itself. But it's just like interesting because like even though they did not perform a lot of like familiar hits, nothing that they performed felt like, oh wait, I don't know that one.
Right.
Which one is this?
Yeah.
Right? Like every song you could sing along to, you recognized it. Even if not during the verses, you recognized that chorus, you recognized that hook.
Or the party bridge.
Or the party bridge, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Any other tour highlights before we get into some more criticisms?
Bobby is very soft spoken. I was surprised by that because I don't know. I mean, I've seen like lots of interviews with him, and obviously they have like their own charisma when they do interviews. They have that laid back style and everything. But still, like when he was talking on stage, I had to like really pay attention to what he was saying because he's really soft spoken.
Yeah.
And he's also just like very, because rappers usually have that sort of persona of like, the hardcore rappers, and like his lyrics are very bold, and his like, the artist persona is very bold, but he's like a very like just like a really soft person,
Right.
He's just like very, as the fan base mentioned, like they're very lovey-dovey.
Right. And that was one of my favorite parts, because they do this, he and Chan do this like halftime sit down where they're basically just like no music, no nothing, just chatting with themselves and with iKONics in the crowd. And just like the gentleness of the way he speaks, and just how you know, like you said, like he's very soft spoken. It wasn't as surprising, but it was very it was surprising how much I needed it, especially for that tour. Like because there's so many, there's just so much hype through the majority of it, that having those very quiet, more just like intimate moments was very helpful, at least with like my energy, and like helped me get through the end without like dying.
Yeah, it was a nice segment before, I think it was before their solo stages that happened. And for our tour, they were talking about basketball, I believe. I was tired, okay?
No. They talked about baseball at our
I don't know what they were talking about, some sport, and I'm not a big sports fan, but like they were talking about some sports, and like they were talking about how like one of their dads is like a really big fan, and like they hope to come back to Denver with their dad. And then it was just like a very like they were just talking as friends, you know, like
very intimate.
Very intimate. One of our Genius Korea team members who went with us, she isn't like the biggest iKON fan. Like she was just there because she knows a couple of songs. And she felt that as well. Like she just felt like, oh, they're just chatting among fans, just like, you know, having a casual conversation, some banter involved in it as well. And so, I really enjoyed that segment as well.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So moving on to our last bit, any things we think could have been better, you know, some you know, things that we wish, you know, either for the tour in general or our stop specifically. So Sayed, you can kick us off with this one.
You're putting me on the spot? Okay.
I mean, I can go first. I'm not, to be honest, I'm not afraid of some of the things that I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really like criticism. It's like, as you said, like it's constructive criticism.
Yeah, constructive.
And so, for me personally, like our stop, I would have liked them to have a smaller venue. I mean, I know that, you know, smaller venue doesn't really reflect well on like a touring thing, because people have negative connotations with that. But I genuinely feel like if it was a small venue, like it would have been more fun to just be in that crowd that is like a sold out crowd. Also, just like personally, like Belko Theater was not built for a K-pop concert, especially like Dumb and Dumber happened. The bass was so loud. Like I was like, our seats are shaking. Like we're literally like, oh my God. Like
you guys got the 4D experience too.
Exactly. Like I have never felt that when, like, especially because if you're very close to the stage, you're very close to the speakers, you can feel that, right? Especially when I've taken like photographs for like tours and stuff, like they give us earplugs for those. Because you're so close to the stage, you're so close to the speakers, like it's gonna be like harmful. But we could feel that like way back in the venue as well, and that's just because the structure of the theater is not meant for that. So, and that has nothing to do with iKON. Like it's just, you know, they should have chosen a better venue, I guess. Other stuff. I mean, I'm just bitter about the fact that they did not perform But You, which is one of their like best songs. I was just like, they're repeating songs, okay? They're repeating songs from the set list to the encore.
The whole encore was it Rhythm Top, Birthday, and one other one that they like
Tantara.
Tantara. Three again. So if you didn't get the first time, if you showed up late, they did it all three of them again at the end.
Yeah, and I mean, in like a very real sense, that's how an encore is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like if you really think about it, but at the same time, I was like, you repeated songs and you could not do But You. Like that's just like, Because also they had it included in the set list for Asia,
Oh.
but they removed it for North America, which is like, oh. But yeah.
That brings me into my first criticism, which is different but related. So the VCRs for this tour bothered me for a few reasons. One, because the first VCR they show us after they do, you know, the three songs, and then they go and set up for the next ones, was basically just a trailer of all the stuff that happened during the Asia tours.
Yes.
Which, again, as somebody who didn't get to experience all of that, was like, I was like, okay, why are we watching a trailer for something that we can't see? Like, that I didn't appreciate it. I think maybe it was a chance for fans to like see more of Jay during the performance, which is okay, yeah. But like I don't know, it felt like
that's actually like that made me think about
rude.
something that you just it felt rude, yes. Yeah. It made me think because VCRs typically, like for other K-pop groups that I've seen, like Dreamcatcher, SF9, things like that, P1 Harmony, their VCRs are typically like very like story driven, and it's like, you know, it's related to their.
They followed up with the next one, which is like this cute like interview VCR, which I really liked.
Yeah, like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, for example, with SF9 or Dreamcatcher, their VCRs had to do with their concept, right? And their concepts are more like, you know, theme heavy, you know, those kind of things. Like there's a storyline and there's a world view. iKON doesn't really have storylines in their comebacks.
Right.
So they can't really like do that kind of VCR. So it's like, I guess that's the reason why they showed a compilation of performers that we're not going to get to see. Like, we are not going to get to see DK dance with a female dancer, like, on it. I was like, yeah. So that's another criticism that I had. Like, we were expecting that he would take off his shirt, but okay.
Yeah, he did. He was also with shirt during our performances.
He lost a tie.
True. Yeah, that was the nice point. But
yeah, my friend who went with me, she like at the end of the night, she was like, okay, I still hope that he would take off his coat, like his, you know, shirt. I was like, there are kids in the crowd, so.
Any other constructive criticisms that
I don't know. I mean, it was a really fun tour, and they had. I mean, from their posts and like fans posting online and everything, it felt like, you know, it was a very long awaited tour that, you know, a lot of people were waiting for.
Right.
And it was also a very rare chance to see iKON. Because, I mean, I'm just being realistic right now. Like, we don't know if they will tour again. We don't know if, you know, whatever is going to happen in the future. So... Especially any tie suit. Like, since Jay is now doing his military service, we don't know when the other guys are going to go to. Yeah, exactly. So it might be a while since we get like a next thing. And so I found a lot of people who were there at the concert were just, even if they weren't like diehard iconics, they were just like casual fans. They still wanted to come because they were like, it's a rare opportunity to see someone. Yeah. Like, they are technically ex Big Three, so it's a big deal, you know, to get to see them. So, a historic moment, if you will. Historic moment, yeah. I think let's just end it on there. I don't want to be more nitpicky than I need to. Yeah. Okay, so that was our discussion about iKON's 8-year journey to their first U.S. tour. There will be links in below to all the people that I interviewed for this episode that you heard. But Syed, can you tell us where people can find you online? And do you have anything you want to promote? Anything specifically? I know Genius Korea, right? You just released your piece for your coverage. Yep. If you haven't already checked out, please check out Genius Korea's review of the concert. We weren't invited as press, so we don't have professional photography, nice photos for you guys, but we do have a really nice article, which was inadvertently written by 3 of the people who went to the concert, because we all shared our thoughts and we contributed to that. But yeah, check out that. Follow us at genius_KOR on Twitter, Instagram, Genius Korea. And yeah, view the lyrics to all their songs on Genius, nowhere else.
Yeah, I actually did. I used Genius earlier preparing for this episode because the encore Freedom was actually one of the iKON songs I knew the least about from the performance. But it's actually like the perfect ending anthem for the show.
It is. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. For us, was it Freedom? It was.
Oh, maybe
it was
wasn't.
probably one of them. Could be. Or Tantara was the last one. I don't remember exactly. Like, I would have to look at my recordings.
Right.
From my. I wanted to share some of those recordings, but then it's just like me screaming on top of my lungs in the background. So I don't want to do that. The encore was perfect. I enjoyed it really well.
Love it.
They came out with their tour T-shirts and stuff. Their tour merch.
Sorry, hold on. Before we wrap up, sorry guys, we're gonna.
Okay.
That's my last bit of criticism for this tour was all we got was T-shirts. I came with like extra money specifically to buy merchandise because I know how important it is for tours, and was very disappointed.
That is something I was disappointed in as well, especially because Leo Presents for their other tours have had extensive merchandise. They created plushies for each member of the group the last time they toured. Like, exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I had really high expectations for merch, and all we got was 3 designs on a T-shirt, and that's it. One of them was not that great either. It was like a tie-dye or something.
Yeah, I didn't even look. I didn't even bother because I was just so disappointed. I mean, if I could guess, I would only say that maybe I don't know about other tours. I don't know about the Europe tours, but my only guess is like distribution for specifically iKON stuff. Like, even though they do own their like IP, maybe because of certain like previous contracts with like specifically distributors that worked with YG, maybe that's an issue.
Yeah,
like that's the only excuse I will take.
I think like just very recently, like while they are on their US tour, it was there was an article published that they finally own the name and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so it might have been that, because even with the T-shirts that we did get, their font wasn't used, their colors weren't used. So it was interesting that, you know, iKON has a very recognizable logo that wasn't on any of the merch.
Right.
And so it might have been because of the contract disputes over, you know, the legal stuff.
Yeah.
So
It better.
I'm really hoping that it was that.
Yeah, really hoping, because
Yeah.
oh my gosh. Anyway. All right, so now wrapping up, guys. Thank you, Syed. Thank you for talking with me and chatting with me about this tour. Guys, you can follow us at the K-Pop Cast on all socials. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, especially if you like the episode. And we'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye everybody.
See ya. Bye.